Hey guys, Shane and Ben here, side by side, tech and trail. We're going to install some Immi Click6 seatbelt harnesses into a 2019 Polaris Turbo S4. Some few little differences we'll get to later is on a 4-seater versus a 2-seater. We're going to do some modifications to the bump on the back of the seat there. The tools you're going to need for this job is right here, 3/4 inch and 5/8 open end and sockets. You're going to need a T25, a T40, 11/16 socket, and a 1/2 inch socket, because Polaris decides they need to give you 5 different mounting types for one seatbelt setup. Also going to need a knife for some trimming, screwdriver to pop off your pins, helps out to have an impact, and of course you can do this by yourself, but having a second guy with you for some conversation and an extra hand works. In the box, see what Immi gives you. Also, key point, make sure you have a driver's side and passenger side before you leave the store, because it will make a difference. The driver's side is going to have keep you from going fast if it's not on wiring. So they'll give you a nice harness here. Everything's set up. What's great about these guys is the retractability. That everything moves in and out, so you can reach forward and grab your gloves. But when it's off camber, it's locked in any place, in case you go over, tip, or just hit something real hard. What else is in the box here? We've got all your mounting hardware. Put everything where the factory goes, and additional spots for the front around for your leg straps. And they've nicely given you some rubber boots, one for each side for the seatbelt. Let's pop inside and see what we need to remove. All right, so inside here, you've got your factory seatbelt harnesses still inside. Also made by Immi, by the way. They're putting that in the Turbo S's as well as a couple other manufacturers. Great brand. So in here, I've already got my rugged radio stuff that's still wired in. We're gonna have to go ahead and pull the seat out. We're going to start with our push pins. You have one in the back, well, 2 in the back, 1 per side. Pull those out. Down here by the cup holders, just below it, a couple of more push pins, again 1 per side. Pull those out. You know, those are a pain to fidget with. Then up here in the front, you've got a T40 and 2 more here on either side. Here's where the impact comes into play. Speeds everything up. And I've loosened the front one to make this easy. Alright, now that you've got all the bolts out of it, we can slide the housing up, pull all the boots out so you can get to your seat belts. This one's loose because I already did it. And once you got that out of the way, we're going to go into removing the bolt here, which takes a 5/8 and a 3/4 inch. For removing this seat belt. Then we'll come up here and we'll pull these pins and the T25's up top. Here's a little cheat, guys, because you can get it from the inside. You don't have to fidget with this one as much. Just pull the pin out from the inside and then it's loose. 25's up here, and then again your 3/4 inch and your 5/8 on the back side once you pull that off. I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, got the pins off. Grab the back, top of these guys off here, lose your bolts, and then the bump comes out. We'll have to cut these out for the back side of the buckles when it gets there. Now you need your 3/4 inch and your 5/8 open or box wrench. Makita makes some nice tools for you. 1/2 inch drive works great for the heavy stuff. 3/8 for the rest. Alright, now to get the one by the door side, it says that you should be taking off all the door skins so you can get out here, but it's easier if you just take your 5/8 wrench, slip it in right here behind the side, get it on the back of the nut, grab your impact with your 11/16 and let her rip. And then you've got that side of the belt off now. Recommendation, throw the nut back on there for a second. Just to get it in place. Alright, here's where you're going to need your 5/8 socket on a ratchet and your 3/4 inch. Slide this guy back. Socket inside. Well, hence where the extra hand comes in handy. Thanks, Ben. Also, guys, if you notice, we want to give you real perspective. This car is not perfectly clean. We do ride and have a good time. There's that, and before you pull that out, you want to unhook your seat belt clip. And there you go. That's out. You've got your boot, rugged radio strap has to come through there. And just like that, harness is gone. Alright, so we have the harness. Recommend doing your top part first. Definitely go over the bracket there. And Immi did some great R&D. They put this pin here, which drops right into the hole from your factory mounts. So it sits perfectly straight up and down. Temp up your 3/4 inch nut. Not to mention they have the bolt in there that's fixed to the bracket, so you don't have to mess with it. In. So it should pull nice. If it doesn't, you want to make sure you can give it a good snug to tighten up the coil inside, release it a 1/2 inch, and then it works. So it's just a little trick to do in case you need to. Same thing there, works fine. Alright, now we're going to put on our outside seat belt. Again, note you run everything straight so you don't have to do it again and twist it. So now we're going to back out that nut again. And the tough part is, again, this 5/8 back in here. Get it on there to hold it in place. This one you have to use the factory bolt because it's long, it goes all the way through that frame piece. There we go. And give yourself a little forward angle. Now we're going to move up to the front, so we have a place for your leg mounts to go over. It's got an L bracket. It's going to use a factory bolt here, and then Immi gives you a tapered self-tapper to come in through this front hole, which is punched in the frame already, but not threaded. I would recommend running it in dry first before you put your bracket on there. That's your 1/2 inch, just to get you a straight line started. Make it a little easier for the install. Pull that one out. Again, make sure everything's straight. Sits right in place. Put in a little loose to start with. Cinch her in tight. Alright, so moving to the inside. Good idea to wipe things clean, you know, before you put your bolts in there through it. This is the other self-tapping one that's going to go through the front here. Again, recommend just running a dry run through it. The top of it's actually going to use the T40 that holds down the center console cover. Leave that just a little loose after the cover's on. Now we're going to move back to the back one. Now's the time you want to make sure when you bring your cover in, you've got to put your rubber boot on. Stick everything through there. Speed sensor wire, seat belt, and for those of you with a mic set and a rugged radio, don't forget to get that and put it through. So again, rugged radio up through the hole. We'll pull it in here and just get it through the boot as well, so it's out of the way. Now drop your seat belt and the speed sensor down through. Plug that in so you can keep driving. And again, back to your 5/8 and your 3/4 inch mount, or bolt, excuse me. Unfortunately, the impact doesn't fit in here as well, maybe with a extension and a swivel, but it's not that long of a bolt. And that's it. So make sure you've got all your seat belts straight, everything's lined up the right way. You don't want to have to take it all apart to untwist it. Get the center console back on. I would recommend starting with the first T40 at the top of the leg mount. Run it down in. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw the one on the other side that I haven't done yet. There we go. Then you've got your back one. And one at the front, plus your push pins. Alright, now that you got your center console buttoned down, make sure everything's tight, snugged around. One over here. There we go. Wrench. Now everything's in. Seatbelt works properly. Nice setup. Too much of a jerk tightens up for you, but releases. Now it's time to make some cutouts on the back of the bump stop. When you put it over, it's going to hit right there. If you've noticed, when you look inside, you're just going to follow along around the fins here to catch this section out, all the way down and around, all the way to this edge, across this top row fins. And then on the left side of both buckles, on both sides, it dips down a little farther. So you're gonna have to cut in a little bit deeper right here and right here. Just measure it out. Use your multi-tool, use your blade, cut it out, and then it's gonna look something like this side that we've already finished here. Then that's that. Pop your seat back in and you're ready to roll. Okay, ready? So pop it on, do a little test fit of what you cut out. Kind of make notes. Need to get a little wider on that side, and this is where you're gonna need to dip it down an extra about 3/8 of an inch. Shave it a little smidge off that side, and it should pop right on. Do the other side as well. All right, so once you've used your multi-tool to cut out along the molded edge, set it up here, test fit it, use your knife, and you can cut out the last little bits of trim. You're all set. Enjoy riding with the family. Remember to like us on Instagram and YouTube on Side by Side Tech and Trail.